year-old player from each team allowed to play in the American Hockey League.
They're considering that.
As far as I know, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I think they've been talking. I thought you had said, Jim, that was something that was passed. That's what I said. I don't know.
It's in the works. I just want to know how you think it would affect junior hockey.
I think it would be stupid for that rule to be advanced. If you can't play in the NHL at 19 years old, the American Hockey League is harder to play in at 19 years old than you are to play in the NHL. It's got three tiers of players. It's got young players that are finding their way into pro hockey, that are trying to establish themselves, and you're playing against older players. Then you got that next group of players that are kind of moved out of that young players that are in a transition phase of their careers, trying to figure out, do I belong in this organization? Do I not? And then you have your older players. It's a hard league to play in when you're 19 years of age. I don't think it's the right thing to do if you're talking about development. But I know NHL teams love to say, oh, we can do a better job of developing by having our players play the American Hockey League. I don't believe in it. There's players that might be able to do it, but now that's 32 players, if we look at every 19-year-old playing the American Hockey League. And it's a hard league, and I don't think it's a league for 19-year-olds. There's the odd guy that might be able to do it and handle themselves, but I don't think it's the best thing for development.
Craig, in the circles you walk in, I know you're well connected in the junior hockey ranks in this country. How would you describe the feeling, about the state of things, given this door that's been opened with McKenna heading off to Penn State University on a ticket that is, reported to be in the $700,000 U.S. range? What are people saying, and what are people, hemming and hawing about in terms of the future of the current system?
Well, here's what I would say. Number one is Gavin McKenna is a unique case. Gavin McKenna is an outstanding player. He's dominated junior hockey, and so everybody should be careful about using Gavin McKenna as the poster player for what it is. The NCAA, with the ruling allowing CHL players to come and play in the NCAA after playing in the CHL, is something that opens doors for everybody. That is a good, significant advancement. Now, there was a lot of players. There was the Toronto Maple Leafs assistant general manager, Brandon Predham. His son, Jack, pretty good player, was playing in Penticton. And the minute that ruling happened, Jack Predham came and played for Kitchener. Is that bad for junior hockey? Is that bad that players that were in Junior A, in the USHL and in Canada's Junior A League came and played in the CHL? No, that's good. You're getting quality players coming and playing. Now, they might leave at 19, and they might go to the NCAA. That's okay. You're going to have other players that are going to come and play in the CHL, because the NCAA has so many players that are committed that aren't ready for the NCAA. They went and played in Junior A. Now they're going to come and play in the CHL, and that's good. The CHL does an outstanding job of development. The NCAA does an outstanding job of development. Now all it does is allow players to consider it at different phases. You don't have to go play Junior A at 16 or 17 when you're not ready for the NCAA. You come and play in the CHL. And by doing that, you're going to help advance the level of talent in your leagues. Yeah, we're still in the infancy of this, and there's still a lot to be determined how it's going to shake out. Ben Kindle just signed his entry-level contract with the Pittsburgh Penguins, 11th overall. Braden Cooch just signed his entry-level contract with the Vancouver Canucks, 15th overall. So they can't go to the NCAA. And we're going to see some players like Gavin McKenna, Jackson Smith head off to the NCAA. But we also have seen players come here. Matthew Tkachuk said, I don't want to go to the NCAA. I want to play in London.
Right.
Patrick Kane said, I don't want to play in the NCAA. I want to play in London. This idea that there's going to be this mass exodus of players going in the NCAA, there was 33 18-year-olds that played in the NCAA last year. 33 out of 60 teams. And the NCAA coaches have continuously told me the same thing. A lot of these kids don't understand how hard the NCAA is. For the 20-year-olds, for a handful of 19-year-olds that want to go and they feel that that's the next step for them, okay, that's going to be an opportunity that's good for them. But for the vast majority of players playing in the CHL, they're not ready for the NCAA.
Craig, other than the Florida Panthers, who did well for you on Free Agent Frenzy Day?
You know, Jim, I'm going to be straightforward with you. I am past this idea of who did well on free agent frenzy. Some of the teams that did really well are the teams that just sat back and kept their salary cap money. They're winners, the off-season winners, the summer winners, you know, and everything that goes with it. I mean, it's a question. It's the same thing. Well, who won the draft? Who are the winners and losers the day after the draft? Nah. You know what? We're going to watch the season unfold, and we're going to do it. Teams are trying to identify where they were short, and they tried to add some players. And some things you might go, geez, you know, that's interesting what they did. That's interesting what they didn't do. And I'm going to take my time with it, because you don't win a damn thing in the summer.
Yes, the cup is awarded in the summer, but in June, and not after that until the following year. Craig, thanks very much.
Thank you, guys. Have a good weekend.
You too. Craig Button joined us on the Maple Toyota hotline. Drive the built-in Canada, fuel-efficient, fun-to-drive Toyota RAV4 gas or hybrid models available. Visit mapletoyota.com. So just so that we're clear, the reports say a new provision in the CBA will allow each NHL team to place a 19-year-old CHL player in the AHL once the new CBA is etched in stone for the 26-27 season.
Yeah, it's an interesting development, and Craig is not a big fan, clearly.
I could see his point.
Yeah. But there's always, like, just as I think, you know, the point he made about how Gavin McKenna is a very special case, not necessarily going to lead to a deluge of players going to the States, going to the NCAA for big NIL tickets that, you know, he kind of fulfills, he checks a lot of boxes that not every player can check. I think this whole 19-year-old to the AHL is a special kind of player, a guy who maybe has played, you know, done all he can do in the CHL. Well, look, it feels like his development would kind of be hindered by another year in the CHL. Therefore, he goes to the AHL.
Absolutely, it's not a quota you're trying to fill. Here's our one player.
No,
you don't want to do that.
But you're looking to maximize the development of every guy you've got. And I think there are guys who, through history, have fit into a category of probably has maxed out what he can do in junior. Would probably be best served going to the AHL, but in the past couldn't. So he would either languish, you know, in the press box in the NHL, which is not a good scenario, or he'd go back to junior, which is more often than not the case, and kind of be there dominating, but not really developing.
Well, like, you're always going to get one or two guys that you could say they're not going to learn any more in junior hockey, and there was really, you know, you were either in the CHL or in the NHL, and that didn't really serve the player. But that's a small number. And correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that the European players that came over on the import draft were sort of, they got into the AHL faster.
Yeah, they didn't. That rule did not apply to them. Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, good. So that was correct.
But it's interesting. It's interesting how the developmental sands are shifting in the hockey world, and you know, Craig is plugged in as anyone. It's great to hear his insights on how he thinks